one line of Gemara, of Talmud, it'll lead to another one. So don't worry about how little it is that you're doing. It's good just to do that because it will lead to more. And the good that comes from it is tremendous. If you learn Aleph, if you just learn the letter Aleph, feel good about that you learned it because it's a great thing just to learn Aleph.
Question number 9. Are the 613 mitzvot true because God said so? Or would they be the best way to live a life even in a universe without God? In other words, is it somehow healthy to not eat pork and observe a day of rest once a week? So I think the Torah mitzvot are a profound way of living life. And I think the Jews who observe them do lead a higher quality of life. See the chapter on the higher quality of Jewish life in Dennis Prager's book, Why the Jews? The Reason for Anti-Semitism. But there's not going to be a meaningful number of people who will ever keep the mitzvah unless they have belief that God commanded them. So it's an interesting intellectual question, but practically you're only going to get a significant number of people observing the mitzvah and creating a community, and a community is really necessary for observing the mitzvah. You're only going to get that if people believe in God.
I'm going to answer real simple. Without God, there is no universe. There is no reason for the 613 mitzvahs. The entire reason for Torah, the entire reason for the 613 is because God said so. You remove God from the equation, you can take the rest of it and throw it in the trash. It serves no purpose. Oh, let me just clarify that with one caveat. Mm-hmm. Some of it might be helpful. Like in the United States, they've incorporated some of Torah into the Constitution and into the laws.
Right.
Some of it may actually be good, like don't murder, don't steal, right?
Right.
But you don't necessarily need Torah for that today. You know what I mean? You can probably figure out civilization on your own, right?
Right.
It could be good to follow it, but that's not the intent of it. The intent of it is to set up a society that a civilization according to Torah, according to God. Mm-hmm. So there may coincidentally, there may be some coincidence there, like, don't murder, don't steal works good for civilization in a secular world, but that's not why we follow Torah.
Okay, question number 10. Do you think burning bush is a metaphor for smoking pot? Was Moses high when he talked to God? I'd say no.
I think that's a joke.
Do you think burning bush is a metaphor for smoking pot?
No.
But I think it's entirely possible that Moses thought the bush was being consumed by fire, but really it was just catching the glints of the rays of the sun, and the sun hitting the leaves.
Oh my God! Are you an apologist again with all your heretical crap?
Just a thought. So
did a meteor come down and split the water?
Possibly.
Why can't you just believe in God? Why can't you just accept the Torah as it is given? Why do you have to apologize because it's too hard for you to believe that as is it could possibly be that way? Why do you have to change it?
I'm not apologizing. I'm just trying to rationally understand what it says.
What do you have to rationally? It's a burning bush. That's what it is. That's how God came in.
Because God gave me a brain. So the brain that I use to try to understand.
Yeah, and He
Torah
says, follow the Torah as written. That's what He said, and your brain for some reason won't accept it.
So Carl Palladino, Republican candidate.
Wait, before we get to that, show everybody your feet. Once again, Levi's not wearing shoes. All right.
Republican candidate for governor of New York. Carl Palladino, candidate for governor of New York, recently had a little to do with this kind of marginal Orthodox rabbi.
Marginal Orthodox?
Yeah, the guy.
Marginal Orthodox? He went into Borough Park.
So, but the rabbi that he was talking to, like the guy who arranged the whole meeting, has like 24 congregants. So he's a marginal.
Oh, you mean marginal in terms of
power and influence?
Oh! I thought you meant marginal, like his beliefs are like not so strict.
Yeah, no, not his beliefs, but his numbers.
Oh, okay. Was that what you care about, numbers?
I think it's significant. So he's not like a huge figure in Orthodox Judaism in New York, this rabbi who invited him. He's kind of on the margins of Orthodox Judaism as far as numbers of adherents and people who follow him. So anyway, he gathered some Orthodox Jews and some Orthodox rabbis.
Let's get some specifics. What's his name? Where does he live?
Okay, so that's covered in the New York Times, and I will give you some statistics in just a second. So go ahead and talk about anything that you found.
Well, he invited the governor candidate, the candidate for governor, to his shul in Borough Park, which is like one of the biggest, most densely populated Frummy communities, neighborhoods in the world, bar none. It's gigantic. There are so many Frummies, people dressed like me, running around in the streets of Borough Park. When you think Frummies, I think Borough Park. That's always my first place. Like some people might think like Yerushalayim, Meishorim, whatever. I always think Borough Park first.
So I'm having a hard time bringing up the story on my...
All right, so here's what's going on.
Yeah.
You have a rabbi in Borough Park who's got his own shul, and it's on, 53rd Street, I think it was?
Mm-hmm.
And what's his name here? What's the guy's name?
Here he is with Yehezkiel Roth.
Yeah, Rabbi Roth.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, or was it Yehuda? It was Yehuda something. It was Yehuda something.
Okay, don't worry. We'll get it in
all
a
right,
second.
all right. And he has this shul, right? And it's a Hasidic shul.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And what was it? What was it? The Koliver Hasidim? I can't remember what it was. I read this story. I don't remember. But it's a Hasidic shul. And he walks in there. You tell him the story, and it's all Hasidim, guys dressed like me. It's all Frummies to the max.
Okay, the rabbi who organized this event on Sunday, where Carl Palladino denounced the homosexual life, is a Brooklyn rabbi named Yehuda Levin.
That's it.
Yehuda Levin. So Yehuda Levin kind of wants to start up an Orthodox Jewish tea party. So he's long dreamed of that. So he's been lining up appearances by Mr. Palladino at synagogues and yeshivas. So, who is this Mr. Levin? He's 56. He plays on the margins of traditional power structures. His synagogue, Kehilas Vavakshai Hashem, has roughly 24 members, far fewer than the thousands of adherents commanded by the larger Hasidic sects that dominate Orthodox politics in Brooklyn, each under the dominion of a Grand Rebbe. In fact, Mr. Levin is not strictly speaking a Hasid, though he wears the familiar black hat and coat.
He's like me. He's like me.
I'm the next closest thing to Hasidic, Mr. Levin explained, an amalgam of right-wing yeshivish and Hasidic.
That's like me. This guy's like me. It's like a small following of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
He dresses the part, and he, you know what I mean? He's like me. He's like me. Go ahead.
Okay. So...
2 hours here, by the way.
What Mr. Levin did have was a pure
9:30.
devotion to conservative politics, unmatched by more prominent Orthodox rabbis, many of whom preach traditional values and shul, but are highly pragmatic when it comes to picking politicians to endorse, backing winners and those most likely to deliver resources to their communities. That's why Hillary Clinton has been able to get a lot of support, because she'll promise some goodies to various Orthodox groups, and then in exchange they'll deliver all their members.
That happened with one community. That happened in Square.
I'm sure it's not the first time it's happened in New York. Mr. Cuomo has already been cultivating larger sects like the Satmars and won the blessing of several prominent rabbis. So this guy who invited him, Mr. Levin, he's a spokesman for the Rabbinical Alliance of America, an association of socially conservative rabbis. He shares with Mr. Palladino a proclivity for inflammatory public statements, particularly about homosexuality. He spoke out against the Gay Pride Festival in Jerusalem several years ago, saying it would amount to the spiritual rape of the Holy Land, and proclaimed, "This is not the homo land, this is the Holy Land."
This guy's like me. Okay. I cannot say a bad word about that rabbi because he reminds me across the board of me. Okay.
Did you have any other thoughts on that video?